Hi, Tracy here with the Idea Closet, and I am so excited for this upcoming week. As you know, Silhouette Studio has come out with an upgrade. It's called version 4, and then just last week version 4.1 was released. The new version 4 has a lot of upgrades and new features that I am so excited about, that I think are going to take your crafting level to a brand new level. There are lots of videos out there on YouTube already that show an overview of all of the things that this new version can do. I was going to put one of those together, and then I decided that instead of doing an overview that everybody else has already done, to go ahead and make some projects using these new features. So for this week, we're going to do 3 different cards, and it's actually going to take 4 days to do all of them. One of them is a pop-up card that we'll get to later in the week. I hope you'll join me this week and learn all of these new techniques and make these fun birthday cards. For today's video, we're going to actually do this happy birthday card with the candles. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up my Silhouette Studio. If you are watching this video and it looks a little bit different than your current version, I am using the Business Edition. Silhouette Studio has 4 editions. There's the Basic, which is the free one that comes with your machine. There is Designer Edition Plus, and the Business Edition. Each edition gets a little bit better, has a little more things that you can do, a little more techniques. Of course, each edition gets a little bit more expensive. The card that we're going to work on today, you can open it up. Whoops, open it up. This card can be done in both Basic or Designer or any edition actually, and I will show you how to do it. So let's go ahead and get started. This card is made all from fonts. Everything on here is done completely with fonts. Let's talk just a minute about dingbat fonts. A dingbat font is a font that instead, when you type an A, you get a shape, and when you type a B, you get a different shape. Instead of getting the actual alphabet A, B, C, you get shapes. You can find dingbat fonts almost anywhere on the internet. You can also find them in the Silhouette store, and that's the one that we're going to use today. Over here, if you're not aware of version 4, if you haven't used it before, all of your tools that used to be up here on the top are now over here, and they are in panels. So these are actually called floating panels. They're floating because if you hover your cursor over here and get your hand, you can click and drag it down. If your panel is hooked up to the corner and you open up a new panel, the first panel closes and the new panel opens. However, if you float this panel, which means you drag it over here, and then you open a second panel, the first original panel stays open. And you can do that with as many panels as you need to have open. It kind of starts to get cluttery, but then you don't have to keep opening and closing. We're actually not going to use any of these, so I'm just going to hit the little X and close them out. The panel that we are going to use today is our textile panel. It has the A and the arrow on it, or line. If you are in Basic Edition, you are going to have 2 icons. You're going to have this one, which is your textile window, and then you'll have this one that has the check mark, and that's your spell check window. If you are on Designer Edition or above, you will have this little curly A, and that is your Glyph file. And that's the one we're going to use today, but I will show you a workaround if you only have the Basic Edition. So these candles are actually a dingbat. They're not a shape. Excuse me. So we're going to come over here and find the dingbat that we want to use. And I happen to know it's called LW. It's a Lori Whitlock file, Birthday Dingbats. When I type it in, I'll find it down here, and I just click on the gray to select it. I'm going to come over here and get my textile window. and click on it and get my cursor. In Designer Edition, if I click on or open my glyph window, there are all of the different shapes. I can size those. I'll be sizing the icons, not the actual shape, down here. I can make them smaller so I can see a lot of them at once, or I can make them bigger. I'm an old lady. I like to have them kind of large. If you do not have Designer Edition and you're only on the Basic Edition, you can still use dingbats. There's just one extra step. So if I am on Basic Edition, once my dingbats are chosen and my cursor is over here, I just will start typing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and on and on. I want to use the candle, so I know that that is A, B, C. To get the candle, I need to type a C. So I would delete those. Come over here, get my text style window, click to get my text cursor, and then type C. And there is my candle. In Designer Edition, it's even simpler. I'm going to open up my glyph window, get my text tool, click to get my text cursor, and then just click on the image that I want. It's that simple. So let's slide this little candle over here for a minute because we're going to use it. When I make a card, I almost always draw my card base. I don't usually cut my base out, but by drawing the card base on my mat, I can size the images that I'm going to put in it. To do that, I need to come over here and open my Shapes tool. The Shapes tool used to be over here. Now it's over here on the left-hand side. It's in a pull-out window, so if I click on that, then those are the shapes that are available. I want to do a rectangle, and I'm just going to click and drag my rectangle. Get my selection tool and select the shape. This new area that's kind of grayed out is called your Quick Access Toolbar, and I love it. They've taken everything, not everything, but the most common things that you can do with this shape, and they've placed it up here. Now I could still open up the panel window to reshape or resize. There's my transform panel, and there is where I would resize it. And I can scale it or change the dimensions over here. But in the quick access window, or quick access toolbar, I don't have to open up that panel anymore. I can simply select my shape and come over here and change it. This padlock is my lock aspect. It's open, which means I can change both sides. I'm going to, in the width, type 4.25, which is 4 1/4, tab over 5.5, which is 5 1/2, and then enter. And there is a rectangle. Now, I'm not going to cut this rectangle out, but it will give me a guide as to how big I want to make my images. I'm going to come over here and get my candle. This was from our font. Now I could change the font size on here, but the easiest way to decide how big is just to click on this corner and drag. My computer runs a little bit slow when I'm trying to both do a project and record it. So I'm going to make it about 5 inches or so. That works. Maybe 5 1/4. That works. To get this yellow outline of my candle, I need to open the offset window. Offset window is over here with the star. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to do offset. The default is 1/4 inch. I want mine a little bit smaller, so I'm going to highlight that and type 0.06 and apply. With that offset chosen, I can open up my fill window, which is right here. There's the drop down window. It's on the quick access toolbar. Click yellow, and now my offset window is yellow. My offset shape. I'm going to select both of these and I'm going to duplicate it because I need 3 copies. I'm going to separate them just a little bit. Whoops. Oh, no big deal. My back to window, I just separated those, and like I said, my computer runs slow when I'm recording and doing a project. So there are my 3 candles. Now I want to fill the candles in, so I'm going to click right on the line. Nope, right on the line. You'll know it's the candle because the box is a little bit bigger. I'm going to open up my fill, and I'm going to change this to green. The other thing that I could do to fill it is, this is your fill panel, and if I open it up, I now have 3 tabs or 3 options. This is my fill, which is the same thing that it does over here. This one is my gradient fill, and this is the pattern fill. All of these used to be found up here, and now they're in this floating panel. I'm going to click on my candle again. Oops, not the candle. There we go. I'm going to fill this one with red, and then I'm going to fill this one with purple. And there are my 3 candles ready to fit on my card. If I want to just double check and make sure that they're all going to fit, I can drag it over, and that looks pretty good. Of course, once I cut them, I rotated them or turned them just a little bit. Now I want to do my happy birthday. So I'm going to come back over here and get my rounded rectangle this time. Draw a rounded rectangle. Select it. And this time I'm going to change the size to 2.5 by 1.25. Oh, I hit the wrong area. I was looking at my notes and not what I was typing. There we go, 2.5 by 1.25. And that is my little tag. Open up the fonts window again. The font I'm going to use this time is called LD Demure. And I actually have a bold copy of it, so I'm going to click on that. Get my text window, text tool, click on my mat and get my cursor and type happy return birthday. I want to justify that, center justify, so I'm going to click it right here. I could also change the font size up here, but since I know that it's going to go inside of there, it's actually a little bit easier to just drag it. I'm going to click on it, change my fill color to blue. One of the important things to remember about the fill color is it's not a have-to-use tool. If you're going to just cut your things out, you don't have to fill those in with color. I like to do it. It helps me in the designing process, and then when I do go to cut it out, it kind of gives me an idea of how I want to cut it. But it's not a necessary step. This happy birthday could be cut out of vinyl, which is what I did for my card, or you could use it as a print and cut. If you were going to use it as a print and cut, you'd want to turn off your lines. The way to do that is, this is your line setting. Hit the drop down menu and then hit your hash marks, and that turns off your lines. I'm going to undo because I want mine on. Then I'm just going to click on this corner button and drag, click and drag until my happy birthday fits inside my little tag about the way that I want it. That looks good. And that is how you're going to create your images for this card. Let me show you another feature that I really like on the new Silhouette, and this is basic or any edition, and it's called your sticky note. So if I come over here and draw a note and click on it, and then click over here, I have a sticky note that appears. The cool thing about sticky note is I can type any message on there that I want. I'm going to put down my fonts that I used. So I used LD Demure, and I also used LW Birthday Dingbat. Okay. With a sticky note, what will happen is when I save this, the sticky note actually saves with it, and the next time I open the project, any information I want to include is right there. So I could type the green one out of printed paper, or I could type on my sticky note, made this card for my daughter's 3rd birthday. Whatever you want to remember, you can put it on your sticky note. When you go to cut it, the sticky note does not cut. It's just there to remind you of any instructions that you have. I am going to show you on today's video the send button, because it has changed even from version 4 to 4.1. So let's open up our send window. It looks just a little bit different. In your send window, which is your cut window, you are limited in the things that you can do. You can move images on and off your mat, but that is about it. You can't resize them. You can't edit them in any way. You have to go back into the design window to do that. This is just to get it cut. Up here are your tools listed, 1 and 2 if you're using the Cameo 3. If you only have the Cameo 2, then only one tool will show. You have different options. You have your simple, your line, your fill, and your layer, and we'll talk about those in later videos. Up here is your material. You're going to choose the type of material you want to cut. Mine is almost always on cardstock unless I'm doing vinyl, but cardstock's a good place to start. Your action is if you're going to cut it or just score it, whatever you want to do. So we'll leave that. And then your blade, your tools, is the blade that you want to use. So with the Cameo, I can use my auto blade, the ratchet blade, or the deep cut blade. I actually prefer the ratchet blade because I have the titanium blade and it's a ratchet blade. All of your information is right down here, and then you just hit send. You can do a test cut or you can hit send. My Silhouette's not turned on, so it's not going to let me send. Of course, you know that you would cut all of your red, all of your yellow, all of your blue one at a time. And also, I don't usually cut my base out. I already said that. So that is 2 of the new features. It's how to use the glyphs and how to use the sticky note. I hope you'll try this card or another card using those new features and come back tomorrow as we learn some more. Thank you.